All right, everyone, welcome to the New Jersey Association of College Admission Counseling STEM Virtual College Fair. I want to thank you so much for joining us today, and I'm just going to get us started with a few housekeeping announcements. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. And you can send it to any university at any time. You do not need to wait till they're speaking. You can do before they speak, during their presentation, or after. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. Please keep in mind that this is just one of many different sessions happening, so please be sure to sign up for additional sessions that work within your schedule and interests. And this presentation is being recorded and will be available within about 1 week at the same website where you registered. That's all for me. I'm now going to turn it over to the stars of our show, our university representatives, and we're going to start with DePaul University.
Thank you so much. I am going to share my screen. Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Amanda Woolley. I'm Assistant Director of Admissions for DePaul University. We are located in Chicago, Illinois, but lucky enough for you all, if you are a part of the New Jersey, since this is through New Jersey, I am regionally based out of the East Coast. So I actually live in Connecticut and am based out of the East Coast to be closer to you. But as I said, we are located in Chicago. DePaul is the largest Catholic school in the country. We have about 15,000 undergraduate students. We are Vincentian, which there's only 3 institutions that are Vincentians throughout the country, and you have 2 of them in this presentation today. We actually are really cool in the fact that we have 2 campuses within the city limits of Chicago. We have a downtown campus, and as you can kind of see from this slide, that's where those high-rise buildings are. We have one located in the Loop neighborhood of Chicago. And then our second campus, which is a little bit more residential, is located in the Lincoln Park neighborhood of Chicago. So as you can see by this picture, it does seem it has more trees, greenery. It's more residential of a neighborhood. So it definitely feels more like that traditional college environment, while the Loop campus is in, we call it kind of our high-rise campus, because you will be taking classes within high-rise buildings in the city center. You can also see in this picture that there is a train that is right on campus. We are right off the red, purple, and brown line of the Chicago transit system. And since we are a part of the system, all of our students will get what's called a U-Pass. So you don't have to worry about paying for a Metro card as a part of your student tuition. You will get that no questions asked. So you can get on the bus, the trains, however you need to get around the city of Chicago. Now, a little bit more about DePaul. Here's a little bit DePaul at a glance. We are 98% of our classes are taught by professors. So even though we do have grad students, most of our classes are taught by professors, and our average class size is 22. So you're really going to get hands-on experience because you're going to have that really intimate relationship with your professors. 90% of our classes are less than 40. So even though we do have a big population, our classroom sizes are still really small. We have over 10 colleges and schools that really range in different majors. But since this is the STEM session, I thought I would talk a little bit about the actual STEM majors at DePaul. So a lot of times students don't really think of us as STEM. They might think of us for our theater program or for our business school, which we have one of the oldest business schools in the country. But these are some of our true STEM programs. We have the College of Computing and Digital Media, and those majors are all listed here. These are all of the bachelor level majors that we offer at DePaul. We do have some concentrations, like within our animation and film and television, that aren't on here because they are specific concentrations, but we have screenwriting, directing, all of that kind of stuff if you are interested in film and television, which is our most popular major. Within that, our College of Science and Health has a lot of different opportunities for you, as well as our early opportunity program with Rosalind Franklin Medical School, where you could possibly start off at DePaul, go 3 years, and then move on to the medical school at Rosalind Franklin. But we do have a lot of different things. We have the RN to MSN nursing program, as well as our health sciences, which is our second most popular degree at DePaul. I also on this slide want to talk about two different centers we have. We have the Idea Realization Lab, which is a maker space. We actually have two of those spaces, one on the Loop campus and one on the Lincoln Park campus. And those are spaces, no matter your major, you can go into these maker spaces, design, create, and really emphasize working with 3D printers. If you want to make t-shirts, we have all of that to you in our Ideal Realization Lab, or just IRL for short. We also have the STEM Center located at our Lincoln Park campus, which really helps to educate as well as help fund research. So if you are interested in research, the STEM Center is there to help maybe get grant funding or help find different research that's going on campus. Finally, I just wanted to show you a little bit about DePaul, some pictures, a little bit about Chicago. If you've never been, I really hope that you can maybe visit us one day. We have a lot of virtual options going on because of COVID and everything. So we have had a lot of opportunities with Zoom tours as well as one-on-one visits. And if you ever need to talk to me, I have appointments that we can talk virtually to get to know DePaul a little more. So if you do have any questions, feel free to email me. My contact information is on the slide. I am happy to help you out with any questions or anything to do with your future with DePaul. So if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat or the Q&A or email me. I'm happy to help out. Have a great night, guys.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, DePaul University. Great presentation. We're going to move now to the University of Richmond.
Great. Thank you so much. Let me share my screen here really quickly. Oh, of course. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Brian Wyora. I'm here representing the University of Richmond, which is in beautiful Richmond, Virginia. And today I'm just going to kind of give a brief overview of what we're about here at the University of Richmond. To start, I really wish that we could do this in person. I don't like doing this virtual setting because I feel like it takes away from the great elements that we offer here at the University of Richmond. One of them that I want to highlight is that we are proud to say that we have the #1 most beautiful campus in the country, according to the Princeton Review. And y'all, I'm coming from Manhattan myself, so I understand that, you know, life in the city can get kind of monotonous, but you come to Richmond and it just blows you away. There's so much greenery. It's a beautiful place. But the ranking I like to highlight a little bit more about Richmond is that we're one of the top 5 best run colleges in the country, which means that everyone from faculty to staff to administration to your fellow students is really here for you. Here at the University of Richmond, we are proud to say that we're a liberal arts college. So that means that all of the professors and, like I said, staff and administration are undergraduate focused. So you really get that personal one-on-one interaction with everyone on campus. Speaking of where we're located, Richmond, Virginia is the capital of Virginia. We are 2 hours from the Blue Ridge Mountains, 2 hours from Virginia Beach, and 2 hours from Washington, D.C. But like, I'll be honest, it's much closer to like an hour and a half from DC. So that means whether your thing is skiing or lying on the beach or taking a city trip to DC, we're really close to everything. We're also 6 miles from downtown Richmond, which is really an amazing city. Even in this time of COVID, it's incredibly vibrant. There are over 800 restaurants, 25 museums, and 7 Fortune 500 companies in the city of Richmond. We're also located right on the James River that runs right through the middle of campus. And as a little bit of a tip, if you ever do come visit campus and you come in the morning, make sure to take a picture on the bridge over the James River, and I promise you, you'll get like 1,000 likes on your Instagram. It is so pretty. And so Richmond, I think, is a very well situated campus. It's got all the benefits of being sort of in nature around our wooded areas, but also very close to city and city life. Just as a bit of an overview in terms of the numbers, we have about 3,200 students at the University of Richmond undergraduate, which I kind of think is the perfect number. You know, that's big enough to where you're not going to run into the same people all the time, but small enough to where, you know, you kind of know everyone on campus. It has that really nice balance. 99% of our classes have under 30 students. Over 90% live on campus. And with an 8-to-1 student to faculty ratio, that means it's not just a possibility, but it's a probability that you're going to be working one-on-one with your professors and really getting to know you know, who is teaching your classes. We don't have classes that are taught by TAs. We don't have classes taught by graduate students. And students often brag about how close they are with their professors, whether it's going over to their house or working with them over the summer on a research project. I think one of the true highlights of the University of Richmond is the fact that we are a place that really values that interaction with your professors. I also want to note here that 100% in terms of financial aid, 100% of demonstrated need is met for all admitted students. And we are also a need blind institution. So what all that means is that we don't consider whether you can afford to come to Richmond, as to whether you get into Richmond. And once you get into Richmond, we're going to meet 100% of the need that you demonstrate. So really, we want everyone who wants to come to Richmond to be able to come regardless of whether you can afford it. So academics. One thing I really like about Richmond is that we are a liberal arts college, but we're situated within schools that offer graduate programs. So we are situated within the Richmond has a law school where you can actually go and interact with professors who teach law. We also offer the Jepson School of Leadership Studies, which was the first school of leadership studies in the country. As a fun little fact, my sister was a leadership major herself when she attended the University of Richmond. And 2 and 3 students pursue multiple areas of studies. So because this is a STEM fair, I definitely want to highlight one of our majors that's super popular. It's called the Integrated Science major. So you can actually major in different areas of science while not having to take necessarily all the different prerequisites. So if your interests lie in physics, chemistry, and biology, look on our website for that integrated science major. That really highlights how Richmond values the interdisciplinary nature of what we do here. I also want to highlight the fact that our students are involved in a lot of things outside of academics at Richmond. We offer over 180 different student clubs and organizations, 17 Division I varsity teams. We are the Richmond Spiders here, and we are the only Spider mascot in the country, and we wear it with a badge of pride at Richmond. Additionally, we offer different clubs and organizations ranging from things like the Black Student Alliance and Green UR, those initiatives that are focused on social and racial justice, as well as with things like the Collegian and mock trial and things of that nature. So once again, our students are involved in a lot of things. I thank you all so much for attending this, and hopefully you all can reach out. I have my contact information at the end here. This is my contact information. I'm happy to put it in the Q&A chat, and thank you for your time.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, University of Richmond. I know the time flies by. We appreciated learning more. We're going to move now on to St. John's University.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Anika Dorsey-Good, admissions counselor at St. John's University, and let's see what the fall 2021 awaits. So at St. John's University, we are a Catholic Vincentian metropolitan as well as global. We have 7 different campuses. Our main campus is located in Queens, New York. So we're one of the 5 boroughs. We also have a satellite campus in Staten Island and a business school within Manhattan. We also have some global learning opportunities as well. We have 3 study abroad locations: Paris, Rome, and Limerick, Ireland. I actually visited our Paris campus on vacation, so if you have any questions regarding study abroad, definitely feel free to ask those in the chat feature. We were ranked #1 Catholic institution as it pertains to student mobility rates. So that means that our students are obtaining jobs as well as going on to graduate level programs after graduation. Our student to faculty ratio is 17:1. So what that means is for every 17 students that we have, there is a faculty member that is there to support you. We do not have any teachers assistants or graduate assistants that will teach any courses. So you will always be taught by a experienced faculty member. We are a medium-sized Catholic institution. So we have around 17,000 undergraduate students. We are a very diverse campus. We are located in New York City. We attract students from within the tri-state area, but we also get a lot of students from the West Coast, the Midwest, as well as internationally. So if you're looking for a diverse learning opportunity, I would definitely say consider St. John's. So like I mentioned, we are located in New York City. So we have locations in 3 out of the 5 boroughs. And as you can see here, you can see our Queens campus. Again, we're Division I in athletics. So you see the different fields here within this photo. We do have that smaller commuter campus in Staten Island. So if you are not interested in necessarily going to a large university, our Staten Island campus definitely has something to offer. And then our business school, again, has the same accreditation as NYU and Harvard, and that is located within Manhattan. We are also a STEM university. I always tell students we're STEM without the E. So everything with the exception of engineering, our most popular, most competitive program in the realm of STEM remains our 6-year PharmD program. So a lot of our students know St. John's for our pharmacy program. We're still one of the colleges that offer that doctorate program within 6 years. In addition to that, we have biomedical science, clinical lab science, toxicology, etc. And also, if you're interested in going on to medical school, we do offer pre-med as a track. Just to let you all know, pre-med is not a major at any institution, it is rather a track. So if you are interested in pursuing medical school, St. John's is definitely a great option for you. We also have a law school on campus, and as you can see listed here, over 100+ programs to choose from. We also have a lot of programs where students can receive both their undergrad and graduate degree within 5 years. So there are a variety of dual degree programs. We also have a partnership with SUNY Optometry. So if you are interested in the STEM field and have an interest in optometry, students can apply as a high school senior to our joint biooptometry program. So that is also something to consider. So this is a photo of our campus. So we are located in New York City. A lot of times students get the misconception that you can't actually live on campus, but that's not the case at St. John's. This is a photo of our residence village. And these are just some close-up photos of our dorms. Great thing at St. John's is we have no communal bathrooms. So students are not required to leave their dorm to use the restroom or take a shower. So our students definitely appreciate that. You can also control the temperature as we have AC, central air, as well as heating. Our first year students are also allowed to have cars on campus. So I know a lot of my students from Jersey, me being a Jersey girl, I definitely understand the value in having a car on campus. We also guarantee housing for our students the first year, and then even returning students that wish to live on campus for the remainder of their undergraduate career, that is an option that is afforded to students. We are a global university. So again, Paris, Rome, and Limerick, Ireland are our standalone campuses abroad. We also have some exchange programs in Latin America with Colombia and Costa Rica being 2 locations. Around 48% of all of our students study abroad at one point or another throughout their academic career. Students can go as little as 2 weeks to as long to an entire year abroad. You cannot complete a 4-year degree studying abroad. And even our students that are interested in the STEM fields have the opportunity to study abroad. We also have labs located in Rome as well. Again, Division I in athletics. If you don't know, our men's basketball team does play at Madison Square Garden, a great way to bring about school spirit. These are just some top internships at top companies where our students have placement. This is nowhere near the entire portfolio of different internship sites that we offer to our students. And then if you are interested in applying, this is definitely geared towards our juniors as well. We offer early decision, early action, as well as rolling admissions. If you are interested in applying, we just need your transcript, standardized test scores if you choose to submit them. And if not, we are a test optional university. Lastly, this is my contact information. I will be around the entire presentation, so you're more than welcome to contact me via the chat. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, St. John's University. And yeah, great point that you make. Anyone can contact any of our institutions using the Q&A feature at any time. You can submit those questions and our university representatives would be thrilled to answer your questions. We're now going to move on to the University of Rochester. Erica, I'm not sure if you are muted.
I'm unable to, oh, now I'm unable to start my camera. It says,
Let's see.
sorry about that. Try it again. Oh, I'm live. There I am. Hi, sorry about that, folks.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Hi, folks. My name's Erica Badilla. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm with the University of Rochester. Before I really kind of get started, I just wanted to take a quick sec to say I hope everybody's faring well, because I know there's a lot happening all around us. So we're just grateful to have a few minutes to be able to share with you and be a resource. To kind of give you a frame of reference, the University of Rochester is located in the city of Rochester. That's on the ancestral lands of the Seneca people. We're about roughly 3 hours south of Toronto, Canada, and about 6 hours from New York City and Boston, respectively, in an area in Western New York that's known as the Finger Lakes region. The River Campus is actually the heartbeat of the university, known as the River Campus because we're on the banks of the Genesee River. Surprise. And it's actually the home to the College of Arts, Sciences, and Engineering. That's basically all of our undergraduate programs, with the exception of those that are offered by our Eastman School of Music, which is in downtown Rochester. That's about maybe 5 minutes away from campus, from the River Campus. On the River Campus, we also actually host our graduate schools of engineering, education, business. And then across the street, not visible in this image, is actually our School of Medicine, which is part of our greater medical complex. The great thing is having access to all of our graduate offerings. There are a number of partnered programs that are actually offering direct admission as part of your undergraduate application for admission to the University of Rochester. So an example, you can apply for an interest in engineering and express interest in our accelerated 5-year program with our School of Engineering, or we have a partnered program with our School of Medicine. That's a 4+4 that allows you direct admission into our School of Medicine. So because of our, fun fact, because of our location, I think also because of our healthcare network more widely, and a lot of our labs and facilities, the University of Rochester is one of the largest employers in New York State. We're actually the largest in our region in Monroe County. And maybe one of the most notable facilities that a lot of people seem to recognize when I talk about lab spaces at Rochester is our lab for laser energetics. It's actually the largest university-based Department of Energy program in the nation. It's home to the Omega laser, which is actually on your screen. It's basically one of the largest lasers you'll ever see. It's kind of impressive to see in person. When people ask me what are the most notable characteristics that kind of stand out about Rochester, there are 3 things that immediately spring into my mind. The first is that Rochester is an R1, a tier 1 research institution. The second is that Rochester has an open curriculum. And the third is that we are an international community. So about 1/3 of our students are actually coming from overseas. We're about 1/4 of our students actually identify as being the first in their families to go to college. And that frames a lot of who we are, not just in terms of the academic experience, but also the communal experience on campus. We have about 5,500 students. Most of them will live on campus for all 4 years. So we're primarily residential, student-centered kind of community. A moment ago, I talked about having an open curriculum. we're the opposite of everything you've ever heard of in an academic experience. Usually you go to college and you have core classes that you explore in your first 2 years, and then you kind of focus on your majors and upperclassmen. At Rochester, we encourage students, and actually we don't have core classes, so students are encouraged to explore the things that they're most passionate about and most curious about. So if you think you want to major in business, if you're curious about engineering, you can actually go directly into those programs from the moment that you actually arrive at Rochester. It does mean that students are encouraged to be the kind of learners that they want to be. You tailor your academic experience to all the things that you're most excited about. And because we are an R1 institution, we're a little bit actually of an anomaly because we have 5,500 students. Most R1 institutions are much larger. Some have their own zip codes. We're on the smaller side, so you have a lot more access to faculty. We have a 10-to-1 student to faculty ratio. And that gives us a lot of access to opportunities to be able to partner with faculty. The open curriculum also means that a lot of students have flexibility to do things like double majoring. And so almost half of our graduates will actually graduate with double majors. In terms of research, we are an R1 institution that students actually, not just at the graduate level, have an opportunity to explore research, but at the undergraduate level. Almost 80% of our students will be involved in research at Rochester. Many will do more than one project over the course of the undergraduate experience. You have the ability as an undergraduate student to apply for an undergraduate research grant to be able to create your own original project. We publish our own journal of undergraduate research. So there's ample opportunity for people to really flex their muscle. And research is not just happening in the sciences, it's actually across the spectrum and across disciplines. That stems out also into the humanities, into the arts, for example. I want to pause right there because I realize that we're kind of running quick on time, but I encourage everybody to stay in touch. I share on the screen some information about our application cycles. But quick thing to note, Rochester did go test optional last year. We are officially test optional moving forward. And as part of our financial aid process, we do meet our full demonstrated need for students who are applying to the University of Rochester. So with that, I'll stop and I'll welcome your questions. Thank you all so much for being here tonight.
Wonderful, University of Rochester. Thank you so much for that information. You can go ahead and help students get their questions in the Q&A and we can answer it. We have one final presenter here with us today, and that is Wesleyan University. So I will let them take it away.
Woo, hi, thank you so much for having me tonight. Welcome everyone. I'm representing Wesleyan University. My name is Amy Breitfeller. I do not have a PowerPoint tonight for you all. I'm kind of keeping it fresh and funky and a little different. And I'm going to give you all the info about what Wesleyan is offering in the science and STEM space. But really quickly, before we start, as you're going to see from the tales that I'm going to tell you in my 6 minutes, some of them are a little bit more personal because I also went to Wesleyan in my undergrad. I graduated in 2019, where I double majored in psychology and Spanish. I minored in education studies, and now I am currently working as an assistant dean of admission here at Wes. So to give you a little localization of where Wesleyan is, we're located in Middletown, Connecticut. We are a nice kind of smaller, mid-sized liberal arts college in the state. But we're also a liberal arts university, which makes us a little bit different from the other schools that might be around in the New England area that also are the liberal arts approach. But what that kind of means for us as a university is that we have this nice interdisciplinary approach to our undergrad experience. Kind of all students are taking classes, dabbling in all different divisions and departments. So kind of a little bit of humanities, some soft sciences, some hard sciences. But because we are a liberal arts university, some of the word on the street might be that all of the students are really into the arts and sciences take a back seat. That is so not true. Of our 3,200 students, 3,000 of our undergrads, about 1/3 of them are majoring in a hard science. And kind of like what the other schools were talking about, double majoring is super common here at Wesleyan, and also double majoring in areas that are totally separate. So what you'll see as like a pretty common trend of our students is that you'll have some dance majors, a doubling with like biology, some environmental studies with, studio art. And that really does come to life in some of our programming, which is really cool. So one of them is actually called the College of the Environment. So this is one of our science programs that really kind of works around one specific area of our sciences that ends up like giving a lot of the control into the students. So you get to pick like an element of the sciences out there. The professors like work really closely to the students. It's a much smaller kind of program that exists in our curriculum. So they work really closely with students and the element that they choose. So some of them will choose like air, water, earth. If you choose water, you'll kind of look into like all the hydroponic dynamic areas of the Connecticut. So you'll go out, you'll do some research in the field, into the mountains of the Connecticut area, and really kind of taking advantage of all of the diverse kind of landscape that exists in Middletown itself. Because we do have the Connecticut River that runs alongside one side of campus, all the way to like the nature preserves of Wadsworth Falls on the other side, and a very short drive to the nice mountains that are in the area where the ski team will sometimes go up and ski down the slopes in the winter. So really a lot of opportunity that exists if like the project-based hands-on work and working directly with professors in that smaller sided kind of classroom spaces. Our average class is about 20 to 25 students. So a lot of opportunity to kind of get your hands into the thick of the academics. But that's one of the programs. There are many others. I kind of mentioned that there's a lot of these interdisciplinary kind of approaches and kind of collaborations that happen amongst the faculty. Another example of this exists in our IDEAS lab. The IDEAS stands for the Integrative Design, Engineering, and Applied Sciences, and essentially kind of getting together kind of studio art professors at the same time as hard science professors and sticking them in the same room with like a 3D printer. For 3,200 students, we actually have 3 3D printers on campus, which is pretty absurd, but just kind of a representation of how many resources there are on campus for students to really use and put their ideas into practice. And so we have kind of along that line, we have kind of hard equipment on campus from the, microbiology labs with their microscopes all the way through our astronomy department with our massive telescopes. I believe we have 2 different telescopes on campus, and there's kind of a competition between us and Amherst College, which is another college on this panel, of who has the bigger telescope. And the long story short is that we have the bigger one, which is great for people to kind of look at the stars and see their projects in light. And so also all of these really cool kind of resources are not limited to just students in those departments. Going along that thread of that interdisciplinary kind of open curriculum that we have, if you ever take a class that's not in your declared major, you still have access to research and still have access to these projects that you can kind of hop on and maybe kind of deter your academic trajectory into a different area, which is really cool that you're never locked out of one area. Even if you are declaring a major in like economics, you can always still be welcome to do sciences no matter your time at Wes. And kind of with this thread, I kind of mentioned that we have 3,000 undergrad students and 200 graduate students. So our graduate studies program is rather small, but very hands-on. And so one of them is actually called the 401 program. So what this program does, it's really cool. So you do 4 years undergrad at Wesleyan, majoring in whatever you so desire, but doing research in some capacity throughout your 4 years. Your 5th year, you stay tuition waived free. And then in that 5th year, you're writing a thesis, doing some really cool research that's kind of carrying over what you were doing throughout your undergrad, and finishing off your 5th year, writing a thesis, kind of publishing that thesis, working with a professor pretty closely as your faculty mentor, rather than them kind of telling you what to do. They're more of just your mentor and a guide throughout your 5th year to kind of really write your final project paper on what your research has been up to that point, and then finishing that 5th year with a full master's for free, which is really great. And then it kind of is a nice platform to jump off into with wherever you want to go next, whether that's a job, whether that's applying to med school, or even continuing future research down the line. I have known many of very impressive young ladies and women that I live with as my roommates that have done the master's programs in all different divisions, in astronomy, in microbiology, psychology, and chemistry as well. So a many different array of opportunities that there are to kind of really take your undergrad research and apply it into the world beyond. And that's kind of a little bit about sciences at Wesleyan, a little different approach. And I hope that you had some of your questions answered. If there are any more, I think the Q&A is up next. So a great jumping off point. Thank you, guys.
Great. Thank you so much, Wesleyan University. I appreciate learning. I learned so much about all of your institutions tonight, so I hope this was as helpful for our attendees as it was for me. At this point, I'm going to ask all of our universities to do 2 things. One is turn on your videos, which I see a lot of you are already. 2 Two, make sure and glance at that Q&A because we did get a few questions come in. I want to make sure that those questions are answered. For our attendees this evening, if you have any final questions that you'd like answered, please make sure and get them in the Q&A now so that they can be answered before we wrap up. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now, and I have a question for all of our panelists here. And that is, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? So I'm going to give each of our panelists a chance to answer this, take up to a minute to answer this question, try and think of new and fresh information to share with all of our attendees. And we're going to go in the order that we presented tonight. So we will kick it off with DePaul University.
Great. Well, my biggest piece of advice is to get an email address that you'll use past graduation and is professional. I know sometimes your high school email address will kind of just kick off and shut down right as you graduate. So you will continue to need that email address in the summer before matriculating into one of our institutions, hopefully. And so if you do use an outside email address, make it professional. So if anything, it could just be amandawooleycollege@gmail.com. Something just as simple as that you will check often. That is kind of my biggest piece of advice in the college process.
Great, thank you so much. University of Richmond, what advice do you have?
Yeah, mine is a little bit more general, which is about sort of college selection. When deciding on where you want to apply to college, think about things that you can't change about the university. There are a lot of ways that you can get a good education at different places, but you can't change the weather, you can't change the size, you can't change the student to faculty ratio, things of that nature. So you want to think about the things that you can't change about a university when deciding on where to apply to.
That's great. Thank you so much for that tip. We're going to move on now to St. John's University.
Okay, great. So in terms of the college process, I think especially during a pandemic, as high school students, I would recommend utilizing things that are at your disposal. Check out university social media platforms, check out their handles. What are students saying about their current experience at a particular institution? Also engage with universities virtually. I know they may not sound exciting, like attend Accepted Student Day virtually, but give it a shot. There's a lot of cool ways to definitely interact with admin faculty members that are at that particular institution that you're interested in. And then last part of the advice is to visit. I know at St. John's, we are offering in-person campus tour. If you are looking at colleges and universities and they are actually allowing guests on campus, definitely take advantage of those opportunities. I always tell students, you never want to invest in a college that you've never visited. It's like buying a car that you never test driven. So just my words of advice.
All right, thank you, St. John's University. I know during COVID, we're all navigating that a little bit differently. So definitely unique advice for this season we're in. University of Rochester.
I tend to think of the college process as an opportunity to really learn about a lot of different schools because I don't subscribe to the idea that there is the one perfect school. I tend to think that you're going to find a number of schools that are going to be absolutely perfect dream schools where you'll be very happy and successful. So hopefully that alleviates some of the pressure of feeling like you have to find that one school that's going to be at the very top of your list. Hopefully you'll find several that will be just wonderful spaces and places for you where you'll be successful and happy. And the second part to that also ties into a major. There's a lot of pressure to figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life. I think many of us are still kind of navigating that even now. So think of college as an opportunity to grow and learn and develop a lot of skill sets that are going to be applicable to a lot of different things in life. And where you'll meet a lot of wonderful people that will be part of your network as you graduate from college. So if you don't know what you want to do, it's totally okay. You will figure it out. And odds are you're going to find the right people that are going to help you along the way to figure it out.
Great, thank you so much for that. And Wesleyan University.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna echo a lot of the things that have been a little bit mentioned here of being open, being aware, and kind of being open to different experiences that are out there. There's so many cool things you can do in that first 4 years of college, and really kind of figuring yourself out as well as what you want to do next. But I think that really just like listening to what you want. There's always going to be those pressures of what other people are doing, what counselors want, what parents want. But at the end of the day, like you are the person that are doing those 4 years and taking those classes. So finding something that really is exciting to you and pulling you in that next direction rather than having to like grind your way through. I think it's a really great mentality to approach that undergrad. And then another thing that I was going to mention is something that St. John's University also kind of alluded to is, yeah, like looking into what is happening in the student spaces in those kind of unfiltered areas. I think that the student newspaper is a really great way to kind of get a touchstone of what the student culture is, especially in this COVID kind of tough time to visit campus. It's so hard to get that culture feel of a school virtually, but sometimes going into those less than kind of curated spaces to see what the student culture is like can really give you a good sense of if the student space is going to be a match for what you're looking for as a person that's going to take classes there and be a part of the community yourself.
Great advice from all of our experts here. We've got another question that will help us learn a little bit more about your campus and maybe learn about those student spaces a little bit. So the question is, what is your favorite event or tradition on campus? And we will go ahead and start at the top again with DePaul.
Awesome. So I will say that I did not go to DePaul, so I didn't get to really be fully entrenched in all of the traditions that DePaul has. But one of my favorite things that I talk to current students about is the DePaul the Blue Demon Welcome. So funny enough, our mascot is the Blue Demon. Being a Catholic institution, our mascot is a demon. Yeah, but it's the Blue Demon Welcome that leads into my favorite thing, which is the Chicago quarter, or Discover and Explore Chicago. So within we are on the quarter system. So our quarters last 10 weeks. So the first 10 weeks, a new student is at DePaul. They take a course in a subject of their choosing. We have 150 sections of DePaul Explore and Discover, and they get to really explore the city. It's about them getting to know the city in which we are a part of. So not only is the Lincoln Park campus and the Loop campus a part of, our campus, but we really consider the whole city of Chicago a part of who DePaul is. So my favorite thing is that Discover and Explore Chicago, where students really get immersed within the city. They learn how to take public transit. They have a group of about 20 kids in a class for 10 weeks to really get immersed in that cultural experience that is DePaul.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for that. University of Richmond, how about you?
Yeah, probably my favorite campus tradition is called Proclamation, which is where it's your first week when you're a freshman, you go and it's a sort of welcoming ceremony, and it's just your class and the senior class. And while you're there, you write a letter to your senior self, and then the seniors at the same time open the letter from their freshman selves. And what I actually learned this very recently, that some freshmen put like a $20 bill in their little letter for their future senior self, so that when they open the letter, they're like, oh my God, okay, I gave myself something. I think that's actually something really fun and a nice moment of connection.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that. Let's see, St. John's University. How about you?
I guess I would say my favorite event or tradition on campus is our spring carnival. So we have both a winter and a spring carnival on campus every year. It's typically the week before finals, and our students have like a break leading up to finals. So our spring carnival is my favorite. I hate the winter. So spring carnival, we have bumper cars on campus, cotton candy. It literally looks like a carnival. We have a Ferris wheel, and often some of our faculty members will hop in a dunk tank and allow some students to throw some balls at it and see if they land in the water. So that's probably my favorite event on campus.
Yeah, that sounds like a blast. Thanks for sharing. We will go now to the University of Rochester.
Ours kind of echoes a little bit of what we were just describing at St. John's. We have something called Meliora Weekend. Meliora is actually our institutional motto, the idea of being ever better and aspiring to be ever better as people and as members of your community. And of course, there's no better way than doing it other than a 3-day weekend sort of gathering where, a lot of our alums come back and get to hang out, and there are rides and food. And it's also just an opportunity to celebrate the city of Rochester So it's open to the greater Rochester community. So sidebar, if you do get to visit, you must try the garbage plate because that's a local delicacy. Email me if you want more details, but Mel Weekend is the best time to visit. Yeah.
All right, local delicacy, the garbage plate. Everyone should look into that. Okay, last but not least, Wesleyan University. What's your favorite?
Yeah, so my favorite tradition at Wesleyan is a little bit different. If you Google Wesleyan, usually the first word that pops up is weird. And I think that students really embrace that word for everything it has to hold, for being different, for being a little strange. And one big kind of manifestation of that is in spring semester, one of our final tours during our West Fest, which is our big kind of hype session to get students to matriculate to Wesleyan. We have a tour that's a little bit of a surprise, and students will all gather into the Olin Library, which is this very ornate, beautiful library, and they will be in their underwear, kind of there doing their work and surprise all of the people that are coming through on their final tour of Wesleyan. And the parents are shocked, the kids are excited, and it's kind of this really great kind of window into the very strange approach that students have to community and really being there together. And I think that that's a really cool little moment of when you're in kind of undies and Olin and a part of the big movement, you're there, but everyone who's wearing clothes is the weird one in that moment. So kind of flips the script a little bit in that sense. So I think it's a really cool little representation of student culture, of us doing things a little bit different. And we have no parent complaints so far, so I think we're pretty good. But that being said, if there was any kickback, I think the Wesleyan students would kind of take charge and keep their traditions alive. So yeah, that's always my favorite thing of Wesleyan because it really kind of takes the culture and puts it out there for everyone to see. Yep.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all so much for sharing this information about your campuses. I know I certainly learned a lot, and I want to thank all of our attendees for joining us tonight as well. Just so that you know, when you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey that pops up, and we would love any feedback that you can provide about tonight or today's session. Do keep in mind that this is just one of many sessions being hosted, so please be sure to sign up for additional sessions. And then in about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording, as well as any other recordings that you want to catch from this event. So thank you everyone for attending, and thank you to our experts for facilitating this wonderful panel tonight. Have a wonderful afternoon, evening, everyone.